well, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Should we be quirky about it?
Be like, hey, Upper East Siders. We're not.
We're not.
Maybe one day.
Hopefully. Oh God. Okay. Hey there. My name is Jill,
I'm Katie,
and this is the Ultimate Insiders. I'm
a
so
Gossip Girl
excited.
podcast.
I'm so excited. Okay. So how this is gonna work, we should introduce ourselves in a second, but how
Mhm.
it's gonna work is we're gonna do an episode by episode breakdown. So obviously the first one is gonna be the first episode.
The
But
pilot, if you will.
yes, which is all kinds of chaos because it doesn't match up to any of the other episodes. So
No, it's weirdly short. I was watching it. I watched
it's
it this
short
morning, and I
and
was
there's a
like, why
lot of
is this
plot
so
holes.
short? There's a lot of plot holes. There's a lot of characters that just aren't in it. I mean, actors that aren't in it by a lot. There's one, and then it just like it's like a whole bunch of lead up, and then all of a sudden at the end, it's like action done.
Yeah, no, literally, it's
It's
crazy.
wild.
So I'll start because this was my idea, so I'll start with an introduction. So my name is Jill. I have been obsessed with Gossip Girl since I was 8 and the first episode aired. I read all the books when I was younger. I haven't read them since, but I'm planning on rereading them because I feel like I have nothing else to do, so why not? I've seen the show in its entirety over 100 times. Yeah,
That
Katie's like,
sounds almost impossible. Like I don't understand how that's possible.
I rewatch it almost every month.
That's a lot of time. That's a lot of hours. I looked it up yesterday. There's like 121 episodes of Gossip Girl. That's
It's like
probably
121
around
hours,
100. Well, I mean, not quite, but yeah.
almost, yeah. But yeah, so I am insane. I don't rewatch every single episode now. Like I get to the point where I'm like, I know exactly what I can word for word do this episode myself. I could I'll just move on. Um, but my favorite episode is I want to say what my favorite episode is because I feel like that tells you a lot about a person.
Go ahead.
I have two favorite episodes. My favorite episode number one is the season 3 Thanksgiving episode, The Treasure of Serena Madre, because it is chaos upon chaos, and I love it. And then my other favorite is I can't remember what the episode is called, but it's season 4. It's Nate's birthday, um, when they play assassin, and I don't know why I just really love that episode. It just brings me all sorts of joy for no reason. I just love it.
I feel like something weird happens in that episode, and then I like snapped you about it. I'm like, what is happening?
I think you like snapped
But
me.
I don't remember what it was.
That episode's crazy, so probably.
Um, I'm Katie. I started watching Gossip Girl right before season 6. Like I caught up all of Gossip Girl, and then I was able to watch season 6 in real time. So that was fun. I remember like going to school the next day and talking to my friend and being like, "Oh my god, can you believe it?" And she was like, "No," and I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Like me neither. Sure, I don't believe it either." Because I truly was. I don't know. I have opinions, but I'm also like, what are other people talking about? What do you think about it? Um. Anyway, I wouldn't say I have a favorite episode because I watched them all in such a binge that they all blur together. I did just finish a rewatch, except I didn't watch all of season 6. In fact, the only episode in season 6 I watched was the finale, and that was me watching that on New Year's Eve right before it left Netflix, but it's okay because now it's on HBO Max.
Yay! I'm so happy. Oh my god. Um, I yeah, season 6 is mostly a soap opera. Like the whole show is a soap opera, but season 6 is so much a
Isn't
soap
it
opera.
isn't it technically considered like a primetime soap opera?
Gossip Girl?
Yeah, I thought I read that somewhere
Probably. Most likely.
years ago.
Yeah, most likely. Um, when I was younger, I was just like, the drama. I love this. And like I was way too young to be watching it, but I did anyways, and I was obsessed with it. None of my friends got into it until high school, and so I was just like alone in my useless knowledge that I have of like the most intricate details of Gossip Girl. And now like all my friends have seen it at least 3 times, and I'm like, thank God.
Gossip Girl isn't really a show I bring up a lot. Like,
It's my
I bring
number
it
one
up from time to
comfort
time.
show.
See, mine is Parks and Rec. And
That's
I'm
fair.
so bummed. Like, I don't want to buy Peacock.
You can watch it for free on Peacock.
I know, but then you have to watch commercials.
Oh, that's true.
Whereas I'm so used to just being able, I watched it on, well, I watched it when it was airing, but B, I just started binging. My parents are just like, haven't you seen Parks and Rec enough? And I said, never.
Anyways, so we need to start talking about this episode. So we watched the first episode.
Episode 101,
Yes.
the pilot. What's it called? What's the name of it? Let's give all of the details about the pilot.
Yes.
When did it air? The original air date was September 19th, 2007. So take yourself back. Where were you 13 and a half years ago?
Like when it was airing?
Yeah.
I had just gotten back from dance class and I turned on the CW to watch Gossip Girl.
Fair.
I was 8 years old. I had just gotten back from probably tap and came back to watch Gossip Girl.
Is it just called pilot?
It's probably just the pilot because this was probably before the whole series got greenlit, which is why it's so like so many plot holes and everything it is.
I can't believe it's just called pilot.
Yeah.
I feel like people usually name pilots.
Well, now they do, but a lot of shows then didn't because it was like not a for sure thing that it was ever going to get greenlit, so they just didn't name it. It's weird. Anyways, so what's the first thing you want to discuss from the episode?
Well, I want to discuss not the very beginning, but when you end up in the loft with Dan and Jenny and Rufus, they're talking about the fact that Rufus and his band Nighthawk were ranked in, what is it, Rolling Stones, like top 10 forgotten bands of the 90s. How old are these people?
Wait,
How
what?
Wait,
what did you say the band was called?
Nighthawk?
That's not what it's Lincoln Hawk.
Oh, then what's a Nighthawk?
I don't know, but it's Lincoln Hawk.
Oh, I'm wrong. Sure. Lincoln Hawk, the top 10 forgotten bands of the 90s, which leads me, how old is Dan supposed to be in this?
15 or 16.
Okay, so 15 or 16 minus 2007 takes you to about like 1991. Was Rufus just like touring when he like just got married and had a kid?
Most likely. I mean, maybe that's why Allison left him, is because she was like, maybe that's why Allison left him. She was like, you can take care of the kids. I had to take care of one.
I was sitting there and I was going, wait a second. Like, this would make sense now.
But it's funny because
in 2007, no.
Then you find out that, like, I mean, later on in the show, you find out that, like, Lily and Rufus met while he was touring in the late 80s. So
that's what the timeline of the show confuses me.
It's the timeline. The pilot messes up the whole timeline of the show. And I say, like, the pilot messes up the timeline of the show. It messes up the characters. It messes up because there are so many holes that are, like, inconsistent with literally the rest of the show. Like, there is a part, like, Chuck said, him and Nate were talking. His mom. Nate was like, yeah. When Nate was like,
he's like, do you want my dad's
mom is
Viagra?
At a country house this weekend. Yeah. Or
he's like, do you want my mom's Paxil?
Yeah. And I was like, Chuck's mom? Like, I was like, that doesn't track. His mom's dead. Like, at this point, his mom is dead. So that didn't make any sense. But
yeah. But the fact that it's like, I don't know how old these characters are supposed to be. If, like, is Rufus just like that bad of a, was he like that bad of a dad at the beginning where he's like, I'm gonna go tour, deuces?
I wouldn't be surprised because he sits there on his little pedestal all the time talking about how he's a good parent. He probably is like, overcompensating.
I'm a good dad. I'm raising you too.
Speaking of which, talking about him being a good dad, I wrote this down because it bothered me. The amount of times that he, like, shit talks their mom to them, like, backhanded. I'm like, how does that make you a good father? Like, that's so messed up.
I don't know. Yeah, he's
like in the
he's
first
hurting, but
episode, right? But like, don't do that to your kids. Like, come on,
yeah,
that's
don't do that.
ridiculous. Um, but speaking of which, I wanted to count. While we're rewatching it, I want to go through and I want to count how many times they reference being poor. Like that's like I've always wanted to do it and I've never have done it, but I want to count how many times the Humphreys claim to be poor, but they live in a loft
There's
in Williamsburg.
yeah, and he's a single dad sending his kids, sure, they're on scholarship, sure,
Even then,
to
it's expensive.
to a prep school on the Upper East Side.
Yeah.
It yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And it
Like,
like and I get
do you
that,
hate
like,
New York public schools that bad? Are you so elitist in your education? I have this like weird thing
that's the
like
thing is
against elitist educations
yeah.
where I'm like, so that's like the one thing that bothers me. They're like, no, he's gonna go to Dart. Like that's the one thing like the captain says to about Nate. Like he's gonna go to Dartmouth, and he's like, well, I want to go to like UCLA or USC,
Yeah.
and it's like, those are also in my mind elitist educations. Yes, UCLA is a state school, but it's
It's still
UCLA.
yeah. But like
It's considered a
my biggest issue with like Rufus, with the Humphreys in general, is the elitism within them. Out like I think it's worse than any other characters in the show. And that should tell you something because the characters are literally the most like the definition of like white privilege. And so like Rufus and Dan especially, like they're the worst about it.
the
But like
dad Rufus owns a art gallery. Like that's something rich people do.
right. And then like there's a whole I literally wrote Rufus is more elitist than he like claims to be because
No,
he
just because he
literally
doesn't live just because he doesn't live on the Upper East Side doesn't mean he doesn't have like doesn't mean like
well, it's not even
I don't
elitism in
know.
the sense like of money and everything. It's elitism in the sense of like, oh, we're better than you because we aren't as rich as you. Like it's like that's still
Yeah.
elitism because you think you're better than someone else. And
Yeah.
like Daniel's or Daniel, I was reading the book earlier. Dan is like the worst about it because he like will go he literally has a savior complex about the Upper East Side. And like whenever he finds Serena's phone, he doesn't take it back until the next day,
Can I ask a
knowing
question?
where she lives.
That's something I wrote down. Why was he at the palace?
He's a creep, that's why.
Why was he there?
Because Jenny was like, oh no, I bet she's just all alone at the palace bar drinking martinis. And he's like,
Oh, I must have
oh,
just like
cool. Let me go
skipped
find
over that
her.
part.
Because he's a literal creep. I don't like Dan. I think he's the most uncomfortable character. He is so creepy. He's a stalker. I don't like him. So like he goes to the palace, he finds her phone, like she drops her phone and he grabs it. Doesn't go, hey, she's literally not that far from him. He could be like, hey, Serena, I have your phone, but he doesn't. And then he waits until the next day, goes all the way back to the Upper East Side, goes to the palace, takes her phone. And I'm like, why would you wait until the next day? That doesn't make
And
any
this is long before passcodes existed on phones. I wonder what information he was getting in that phone.
exactly. I don't like it. It makes me so uncomfortable. But another thing that I noticed in the episode, I talk about this a lot. All my friends think that I'm like insane and they're like, I bet they just pulled out of their ass that Dan was Gossip Girl. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it was calculated. Like I'm pretty sure they knew from the beginning. Because in the pilot episode, there's a scene towards the beginning of the episode, or like maybe the middle, where it's like the Gossip Girl voiceover, and it's like I don't remember the exact
That's
words,
one secret I'll never tell.
and it's literally a shot of
Or,
Dan.
and who am I? And who am I? That's one secret I'll never tell. You know you love me.
Yeah,
XOXO. Gossip Girl. Which,
it's a
at that
shot
point,
of Dan. So
point, well, yeah, and they also show the Gossip Girl website, and I took a picture of it because it intrigued me so much.
yeah.
So, like, you have the Gossip Girl logo, which just looks like the Barbie logo.
Which
Like, it just looks,
good for
like
them.
it's Barbie. And then it's like, and then it says, welcome. Welcome to Gossip Girl, the site about the Upper East Side, for the Upper East Side, and by the Upper East Side. And then you get gossip, the latest and greatest 411 on all the, in quote, in people. And then what reason number 643 Why We Love the Tishes, Maine, and then Brarely's new uniforms are fugly. I don't understand what that means. And
What,
then it
really?
says Serena
Like
no, why that's above anything. Like why that's written there.
Oh, who knows?
And then there's gossip, there's home, gossip, posts, pics, parties, links, more. And then it says, you know you love me.
Do you know what the wildest thing, this isn't in the first episode, but do you know what the wildest like part of the Gossip Girl site is? Like the weirdest section of it is the
What?
spotted map. There's literally a way to track people. How do they do that? Like, how did they, like, how did, I, like, none of it makes sense to me. How were they able to track
Before Find My Friends existed?
Yeah, like, how were they able to track them on their Nokia phones? Like, what?
Well, I mean, what I am assuming
Yeah.
happened is they go, here's a picture of this person, and then you say like you type in like spotted this person, and then you say where, and then that just gives you, and then the Gossip Girl just put where you are.
Right. That's what I always figure. But then there's like those scenes where it's like Blair in a church, and I'm like, why would anyone be around this? Like, that's what, like, it's like the weirdest things like that I just like don't
And it's
understand.
used, and in the show it's just used as like a transition to tell you like what's going on.
Or like if like Blair or someone's like scheming something, and then they're just like, oh, where is he? There he is.
Yeah.
Found him. He's wherever. Anyways, so then there's like one of my favorite things about the first episode is the use of the song What Goes Around Comes Around by Justin Timberlake. I think it is so good. Like, I love how they put that, like, when they put that song in. I just think it's like,
what's the song that goes
oh, I know,
because that's at the beginning, but
yeah.
on the outside or something like that. I don't know how the song goes, but that's whenever I hear that song, I only think of Gossip Girl.
No, literally, a lot of songs I'll like hear them and I'm like,
not that I hear that song often.
Every time I hear like a lot of songs though, like a lot of like early 2000s bops, I'm just like, oh, this was in Gossip Girl, and everyone's like, what? And I'm like, that's how I know most popular music from like early 2000s, just because I never really paid attention.
While you're looking at that, there's a line that just bugs me.
Yes.
And it's when Lily goes to see Rufus at his gallery after, after Dan returns Serena's phone.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're going out tonight. And she goes and she's like, why is my daughter going to one of your shows? And then I don't know what happens. And then she goes, with your son. And he goes, Dan, oh God, makes me want to like gag when Rufus goes, Dan scored a date with Serena. And I'm just like, ugh.
It's uncomfortable.
I hate that. I don't like when people, like, as if, I don't like, I don't know. I'm very, very picky with like terms I like to use in relationships or about relationships. Like, the word babe, cut it.
Really? I use that with my friends though. I don't know if I would use that. Like, I don't know how often I would use it in a relationship, but like with my friends, I use babe all the time.
That's a different thing. Absolutely. Yeah. But like also the idea of like scoring a date or like, oh, you have a hot date.
See, like, but what bothers me about him saying that is she is a teenager and he's a
exactly dad. And it's like as if she's a prize to be won.
Yes.
And I get that that's like a term people used. But maybe like, possibly also, still do, but it's like it's cringy. It makes me go like
just the way he said it was so like predatory. Like I
know he's like Dan scored a date with Serena.
Like
I like made the note. I made a note and then I even put the little like gagging emoji next to it.
I have one of my So one of my least favorite lines in the first episode is when Jenny calls Dan to come and meet her. I think it's at Bendel's is where she's at. I'm pretty sure it's Bendel's. And Serena and Eric show up there or whatever. But before Serena and Eric show up, she's like, she has a dress on or whatever. And Dan's like, oh yeah, you look really good, Jenny, like whatever. And then she goes, too bad it costs more than our rent. There was
Oh,
no way in hell that dress costs more than their rent. Like,
I know. What was it, like Dior?
right. Well,
How much is their rent?
even then that dress,
$1,100.
like even then that dress though, like knowing the pricing of most like short formal dresses that were sold at Bendel's, because Bendel's was honestly, it's not around anymore, but it honestly wasn't as expensive as other department stores. And knowing, like with my knowledge of like fashion and pricing of fashion and that kind of thing, there is no way that dress costs more than a loft in Williamsburg. Absolutely no way.
And it's like, oh, is she being like hyperbolic? I don't know.
Right, but it's like, or is she just like so out of touch that she genuinely doesn't know, like her parents just genuinely don't tell her, or like, I don't know, like the whole thing was just very uncomfortable. I don't like it when they talk about how poor they are, because I'm like, you aren't poor though. You're just not as rich as everybody else.
You're just not the 1%.
Right. And it's like, and oh my, like it drives me insane. And the amount of times that Dan is like, yeah, this world, it's your world about like Serena. And it's just like, okay, but put
It's your
yourself
world too.
in
You
her
could just live here.
shoes. She can't control what world she's raised in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that where Serena genuinely isn't as bad. Serena's not my favorite character, but she's not as bad as she could be. And he acts like every single person that was born into that world is like the worst because they were born into it. Like, that's not their fault. Just like it's not your fault that you weren't born into it. Like, that whole
Well,
thing
I mean,
bothers me.
I think as he like becomes friends with these people, he conflates his opinions of the people with the society. Like,
Yeah.
yes, obviously he spends more time around that society, but I mean, he is just only hanging out with one group of friends. Like,
Right.
there's a whole other group of people at the school to like hang around with. Also, back
And
to
there's like
Eric, that
5 other
hair.
schools too.
Yeah. Eric's hair. Can't get through it. Can't get it. Can't do it. Can't
Eric's
do
hair
it.
goes through so many horrendous phases throughout the show, and it's so funny to me. I love it.
I want to know, like, part of me is like, did they want to make him blonde to like match his mom and sister?
No, I think it
Or
was
were they
supposed
just
to be,
doing like the 2007
I
like
think they were just
chunky highlights?
I think they were just doing like the chunky frosted tips highlights thing. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. But
Oh my god.
we went through that.
Anyway, another note I have on here, and you and I have talked about this before. Why are Nate and Chuck on a bus?
We literally talked about this last night. So like it makes me laugh because literally every other episode post the pilot airing, Chuck takes a limo to school, Nate probably takes a town car. Like it's so
the idea of taking
funny.
a limo, like a stretch limo to school.
It's New York City.
Embarrassing. Like I would be embarrassed.
Well, it's funny because like at that time, like really looking back on like when the show came out and like when the books came out and everything, it's like that was like the height of luxury. Like you could afford to take a limo every day. But like now, nobody takes a limo anywhere. You take like a luxury SUV or a town car or like something like that.
You take an Escalade. You take a black Escalade.
Speaking of Escalades, I saw an Escalade this has nothing to do with anything, but I saw an Escalade the other day. Please keep in mind, I'm in Kentucky at the moment.
Oh, I was gonna say, are Escalades not common around you?
No, they are. They're like everywhere, like in the town or in like the city where I'm like from. But I saw an Escalade the other day that was wrapped in Louis Vuitton. And I wanted to die. I was like, this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Well, I mean,
in my life.
I think that having your logo a million places, like having your pattern just be your logo, I hate it.
There are some
hate
things,
that look.
Like Louis Vuitton has like some like plain things that I like, but like other than that, Louis Vuitton is so stupid to me. Like I don't understand why people buy Louis Vuitton bags.
They buy Louis Vuitton because they say, And that's the thing, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton, you buy that like classic tote that has like the LV print all over it, and it's a signifier of I have money.
But like
It's
even then it's like suburban money. Like you look like a suburban woman usually.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like I
Yeah.
don't get it. But I don't know, like cuz I look at bags and stuff and I'm like I like Michael Kors. Michael Kors makes me want to scream because A, racist, B, everyone that carries those bags, they only got them at like TJ Maxx. And I'm like, y'all only have this because you're like, oh, it's a designer that I can buy for cheap. And it's like, okay, that's fine. If you like it,
And
you
everyone knows that. Like if you want to
right,
say it's cheap designer.
right.
People, it's not like you're, yes, it is designer, but it is also, people know it's cheap designer.
But like at what cost? Like, why would you want a Michael Kors bag after the things that he has tweeted about Black people? Like, it's just, I don't understand it. It doesn't
I
make
don't know.
sense to me.
I pretty much stick to Kate Spade because it's classic and cheap
And
and
she
good
was a great
quality.
person, and we love her. Rest in peace.
Yeah, and it's good quality stuff
Yeah,
too.
I love a
And
Kate
it's
Spade.
cute.
Yeah, it's
I
very
do.
like,
Okay, I do have this like goal. I don't know if I told you this, but when I get like a big job, if I end up like one day getting like a raise or a promotion, or I get a new job and I'm like going, and it's in New York, which is like what I want.
yeah,
I love California so much, but New York is where I want to be.
yes.
um I keep telling myself I'm gonna buy one of those like classic black Chanel purses.
Oh, like the boyfriend bag or
I don't know, just like the
just
classic
like the classic
handbag
ones. Yeah.
that, like, yeah, because I love
I'm
those
blanking on everything today. It's
are
embarrassing.
classic and they're so pretty.
Hmm. I
Just
love
like the
Chanel.
quilted. I do too. um I keep like, I'm like telling myself, I'm like, that's what you'll get as like a treat yourself,
Yeah.
for like a
See,
congrats on getting this.
mine is like I would do a Chanel bag, and I have this pair of Tiffany sunglasses I really want because you know I love sunglasses. And there's a pair of Tiffany sunglasses I've been wanting for like 3 years, and I just like can't ever afford them because I'm in college still and my job pays me nothing. Um, but like as soon as I get like my first job, that's like the first thing I'm gonna buy is my Tiffany sunglasses. Then the next thing is
Where is my
there's
Tiffany
no
headband?
and then like
Let
the
me keep
Chanel
it.
bag,
I
and then
know.
a pair of Chanel espadrilles that I've had my eye on for
Damn, you
my
want to
entire
just
life.
like, you just want to ball out.
Oh, I've been like this my whole life. I love.
No, like I'm gonna treat myself with all of these things, whereas I'm like,
Yeah. Well, it's like those
I
are
can
my
get
top
myself
three
one.
things. Those are my top three things. It's just like my whole life I've wanted like all this stuff. But I am from an area where if you wear anything like that, you look like the worst person on the planet. So like I can't ever justify doing it. So
I'm not. I'm from a. I don't want to say I'm from like a bougie area, but I live around bougie areas.
like when I tell you I have never fit in where I'm from, I genuinely mean that. Like all my friends are like, none of like you don't make sense here because I literally don't. And it's so funny. Like my entire life I've been like this. And then Gossip Girl just made it worse because I was like 8 years old and I was like, that's where I need to be. And that's still how I feel. So
Oh my gosh. But like, speaking of how they dress and like what they wear and stuff,
mhm.
I am so shocked that they have such freedom over their uniforms.
Okay. Yeah, I think about this a lot because there's no way that that's like genuinely allowed.
I don't understand how. They truly just like manipulate their uniforms as much as they want. They're like, as long as it has the tiniest bit of plaid, we're fine.
Right. Oh my God. I
I
don't
don't get
understand
it.
it. Oh, something else I've written down. Not one, but two sexual assaults by Chuck Bass. In the
Okay,
first
there's,
episode, he starts on Serena
oh, yeah.
and then Jenny at the end of the episode. And I'm just like, I know he grows so much as a character. He has like one of the best character growths out of all the characters in the show. And I adore him in the last like 2.5 seasons. But it's like that will always be in my mind. I will never let that go because it bothers me so much that in the span of 2 days, this man tries to sexually assault two women or two girls who like would never ever be interested in him. Like it genuinely bothers me and I can never not have that in my mind.
Yeah. When the whole Serena thing happens, how, maybe this is just me not knowing how things work on the Upper East Side, but how are two clear teenagers
Mm.
able to sit at a bar and order drinks?
Well, Serena lives there, and I'm sure that like because okay, so there's
It's
actually
not sitting at the bar that's the problem. It's the how is the bartender just like the palace isn't concerned about their liquor license?
so there's a I don't know if you know about this. There's a reality show that came out within the first couple of years of Gossip Girl airing. It only has one season. But it's literally like the real life Gossip Girl. Like these kids are like literally the real life Gossip Girl. And I watched it and I want to rewatch it. It's been a while since I watched it. I want to find it and rewatch it. I can't even remember what it's called. Um, but there's like a part in like one of the first episodes where they're like talking about how like they literally can drink whenever they want it, wherever they want around Manhattan. And they were saying it's literally because they own Manhattan. So they're genuinely believing that they are allowed to do it because they own the city. And it made me so uncomfortable. But I'm like, but the fact that they're not entirely wrong because their parents own a lot of New York City and that like it's horrendous. But like yeah, that's essentially what it is. It's because they're allowed to do whatever they want because of their parents and who their parents are and how much money they have.
I don't know. There's the whole thing like in a later episode where they get a fake liquor license and then it gets shut down.
Oh,
And I'm like,
because well, Jack got the fake liquor license for Chuck and made them think it was real, and that whole thing is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah. And then once they found out it was fake, they like called the cops to do that whole thing. I don't know
bust
that
their own
whole
party.
yeah, that was a weird, confusing episode. But yeah, that whole thing, it's very stupid, but it is what it
So
is.
the idea of them renting out a venue for a high school party,
That's my dream. Are you kidding me?
I'm like, maybe I'm just like suburban trash, but I can't imagine renting out a venue for a party.
I so when I was in high school, I wanted to do like a big birthday party one year. I didn't have enough friends to do it, so it really like no one liked me in high school. I didn't have like any friends. So I wasn't able to do it, but like I wanted like a Gossip Girl-esque birthday party one year. So to make up for me not having friends, my mom literally
Complete with
had like
drinks.
yeah, my mom literally had like we got a ballroom at like one of the hotels and we all like all my friends and I got dressed up and we had like an Oscar themed birthday party because my birthday fell on the Oscars that year, which happens a lot. Um and I was obsessed with like the Oscars and films and all that stuff. So we did like an Oscar themed birthday party, which was as close as I was ever gonna get in my high school days to like a Gossip Girl esque birthday party.
It's not even a birthday party. It's just a party.
Which is like that's the thing though is I've always wanted one. I've always wanted like a huge ass party for no reason. I do have an idea though because you know how I don't want to get married. Like I have like no intentions of getting married as of
Okay.
now in my life. I don't ever want to get married. So I have this idea because I've always wanted to get married at the plaza. That's just always been my dream. Thanks, Eloise, at Christmas time
Ooh,
for sparking that
that's
idea.
some money.
Oh yeah, but I plan on marrying rich, so it's fine. If I ever get married, I'll marry rich. That's
Or
always
work
been
at the
like my
plaza and
life
get
goal.
a discount.
Girl, no, I'm not working at the plaza. Maybe it's like PR for the plaza.
Exactly. Work for the plaza, get some discount somehow.
True. Um, so if I end up not getting married by 40, I'm going to throw myself a party that is as big as a wedding reception at the plaza. And it's
You're
going to
gonna pull a Sue Sylvester and marry yourself.
Yes, it's gonna be huge. And I was like thinking about it and I was like, it's literally gonna be it's gonna be white tie. It's gonna be like the fanciest shit on the planet. And it is going to be so much fun. Because
Start saving now.
the only reason I wanna have a wedding is for the reception and to be the center of attention. So why not just throw myself like a gala? All about me.
I will tell you, galas, they're expensive.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
I've
But
worked a couple galas
yeah,
in my time.
I had an event planning class and we were like talking about all the pricing stuff and yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my
But
god, maybe you should get into special events.
I do want to do like event planning. I love event planning. Um, but COVID, so nothing's really happening.
I know that's where there's all these like uh being from the world of nonprofit, there's a lot of like digital events or virtual events.
Yeah, like I've done virtual events for the job I have now, but like virtual events are tricky.
I haven't participated in any of them.
They're very, very tricky.
Every virtual event that I have participated in has just been like all right, this YouTube video is going live. I'm like,
Oh
okay,
god.
sure.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
What else? Did you have anything else written down? This episode is so boring.
No.
It's not
Yeah,
boring, it's just like it's setting everything up, so it's like
my notes are, what is the timeline? Forgotten bands of the 90s. When was Dan born? And then Chuck and Nate on a bus. And then such freedom in uniforms. Chuck refers to mom's Paxil. Teens publicly drinking. Why was Dan at the palace to run into Serena? Which you answered, and I just apparently, my brain went,
missed it. Yeah.
we're skipping over that. Dan, quote unquote, Dan's going to date with Serena, puke emoji. And the idea that they rent out a venue for a high school party. That's all I wrote down because that's all that happened.
My favorite thing is you have a note that literally says Chuck and Nate taking a bus, and I literally have Nate and Chuck taking a bus with a question mark. Oh, I feel like we should discuss something. So this just has to do with the show overall, but I feel like now's a good time to discuss it. Who's your favorite character throughout the show?
Blair.
Okay. Because I always say that like I don't have a favorite because I love Blair and Nate. Like
No,
I always say I don't have a favorite, but like we all know I literally have a drawer full of headbands. I have like my winter fashion this year is like literally inspired by Blair in like season 2 and 3. Like I'm literally obsessed with Blair Waldorf. Like have been
my winter wardrobe is inspired by every waspy mom from a musical.
Valid. Because
I am Cynthia Murphy. I am Mary Jane Healy. I don't know. All I'm wearing is athleisure at this point. I've only worn athleisure this entire year, apparently.
Mood.
Past year, COVID.
Yeah. But like Blair's like my favorite too. But Nate Archibald.
Yeah, well, Nate's great.
He's oh god. Like I love Nate so much. He is the very definition of perfection. Which I hate saying about a white man, but he is. That's just the tea. He's so great.
Who's your least favorite character?
My least favorite character is Dan Humphrey.
Oh, mine's either Jenny or Vanessa.
Mine is literally all tied. It is Dan, Jenny, Vanessa, and Rufus. All my least favorite characters.
I don't even think of Rufus. Rufus isn't a character that like even passes my mind.
He just like.
Oh, I also hate Ivy.
You know what? Ivy's up there too. She's probably right after like all the Humphreys in my list. She's horrendous. Or right before. So like if I'm going like least to favorite, it's like the Humphreys, Vanessa, and then Ivy. Carol bothers me too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like she just is like I don't understand what her plan is half the time. Like I just,
Yeah.
and that could also just be the actress. I don't know, but like, I just don't really understand her motive most of the time. Um, and then I want to say Chuck is one of my least favorites just because in the first like 2 seasons, he is so toxic. He's toxic in like all the seasons at some point, but he does have really good character growth. I think Blair has the best character growth out of everybody in the show.
I think Chuck does.
I think him and Blair both do because, I mean, he goes from sexually assaulting people in the first episode to saving Lily from a sexual assault by her uncle or by his uncle
Mm-hmm.
in that one episode, which is a really good scene. But then like there's Blair who like would scheme and didn't care who she hurt, going to season 5 or 6 or whatever, saying like telling Serena, yeah, I had this plan in place, but as soon as I realized I was going too far and someone was going to get hurt, I stopped. And like that's like crazy character growth. Like that's like insane.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Do you know what's wild is like, and this happens to me on a lot of TV shows. If there is like minor characters and there's like two of them, I will, and they're always together, I will never know which is which, and I like to keep it that way. So on Gilmore Girls, there's a couple of them. So there's Madeline and Louise. I don't know which one's Madeline. I don't know which one's Louise. Then there's Colin and Finn in the later seasons. I don't know which one's Colin. I don't know which one's Finn. In Gossip Girl, I don't know which one's Cotty. I don't know which one's Is, but I'm gonna keep it that way. I don't want to know.
I didn't know who in Gossip Girl you were gonna mention, but like the minions make sense. That's fair. That's
which one's Cotty, which one's Is, no clue. And we're gonna keep it that way.
I know which one's which, but I won't tell you now because if you don't want to know,
Thanks.
I won't tell you.
at one point, they like at one point in the podcast Gilmore Guys, they explain which is which for both Madeline and Louise and Colin and Finn. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to remember this because I like they're just the same person. They're one person or one character.
Oh god. Yeah, I don't know. Like there's so many characters in Gossip Girl. Like there's so many people that like come in and out of this show. Like Georgina. I love Georgina.
Oh, I do like Georgina. She's a great character arc too.
She is amazing. A lot of people are like, she's the worst person. I'm like, yeah, she's a bad person, but she's a great character. Like,
yeah. Are
you kidding me? Who in Gossip Girl isn't a bad person in some way? Well, Nate Archibald, but everyone else. I will die on that hill that like Nate Archibald is the least problematic character in the whole show. I will die on that hill.
I don't think Eric is that bad.
No, Eric's not. He's just never like
he also just has that whole thing where he when Jenny is like being bad, he has that whole thing where he like tries to sabotage her.
Where he's valid though, because she's dead. The worst. So like he's allowed.
Yeah.
Murder her if you have to. Like, who cares?
Jonathan's not a bad person.
Matt Doyle.
Baby Matt Doyle.
Baby Matt Doyle. My favorite thing is like there was one TikTok. No one's gonna know what we're talking about because like now we're just talking about theater. But like there's this TikTok that Max Clayton did of like it was just literally just the camera on Matt, and he was like, "Hey guys, remember him? He was on Gossip Girl." That was the entire video. And it makes me laugh every time I think about it. Oh god, I love Baby Matt Doyle.
Baby Matt Doyle. You see like random, that's the one thing about Gossip Girls, you get like random theater people in there.
There's so many theater people. It's like SVU, like there's so many theater people because they film in New York, so why not?
Yeah.
I mean the new Gossip Girl is gonna have Adam Chandler. How do you say his last name?
I've always done it as Barat.
That's what I say. Okay.
Adam Chandler Barat.
They literally said his last name in the Next to Normal reunion, and I just didn't pay attention. So that's on me. But
is Laura Benanti in it?
Yes, she is.
Why do I think Laura? Okay.
She is, yeah. Which I'm very excited about because I love Laura Benanti.
Kristen Bell is gonna be reprising her role as the voiceover.
She should.
I'm very excited. A part of me is so when I was watching the finale the other day, there's a whole part where it's like, oh, you know, these people there will always be an outsider and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool if they like made those people the new cast, but at the same time, I'm like, we have no idea who these people are.
Right. And it's like, I love this new cast. They're all so hot and perfect. Like, I'm obsessed with them already. I don't know anything about them, but I'm obsessed with them already. I cannot wait.
I'm actually very excited that it's going to be HBO doing it rather
Yes,
than the CW,
because they can do a lot more
because
things.
they can do more things. They can get more gritty.
Mhm.
They can get more like explicit.
We don't have
They
to
can,
deal
but
with
also
hearing the words mother chucker and
I think
like
that's so. I
foster
think that's
cluck.
funny though.
Like,
But not just that, but I don't know. You look at some of the CW shows, like they always have like a strong first season, and then after that, and after that, it's weird. And truly, the only thing I'm talking about right now is Riverdale. But
oh, I've never even seen Riverdale. I did not have any interest in it.
I watched the first season. I really liked the first season. And I tried to watch season 2, and I'm like, this is bad.
The most I've seen of Riverdale is the video compilations on YouTube that are like Riverdale with the worst writing because they make me laugh
Weird.
so hard.
I'm a weirdo.
The highs and lows, the epic highs and lows of high school football. What? Shut up. Like, what are you talking about? It's high school football.
Oh my gosh.
Like, Jesus Christ. I
Yeah,
say
I'm
that
very
I'm like,
excited that
I grew
HBO
up,
is going to be
I
doing
say that like Riverdale's like the worst writing because it's so dramatic. And I sat here like watching Gossip Girl for the past 13 years of my life. And I'm just like,
it. I'm very excited
I
that
need a,
HBO is going to be doing it.
oh, big save. I'm so happy. Let the new Chuck say the word fuck. That's my like goal. Whoever, I'm pretty sure it's Thomas Doherty, whoever like his equivalent is or his parallel is, let him say it. And let him
I'm
be
excited.
bisexual. Let him be bisexual like he is in the books. Because you barely let Chuck be bisexual. Let this new guy be bisexual. That's
Well, this isn't Chuck.
well, no, but it's
No
his
problem with him
I'm
being
talking about like his
bisexual.
parallel. Like I want his parallel to be because
I hope that there's. I hope that they're not carbon copies of the original.
I don't think they will be. But like I do think that there will be like a lot of like some like similarities and like parallels to the characters in the original one because I do know that like within the new series it's going to be like it's just an extension, so like all these characters exist in the world, like they're all still like everyone's going to know who Serena Van Woodson is, everyone knows who Nate Archibald is in this new world or like in this extension of the world. So like I'm excited about that because it opens up the ability to have the original people come in and reprise their role as like you can have Chase Crawford. I just want Chase Crawford to come back. You can have Chase Crawford come back as Nate Archibald or Leighton Meester as Blair. Like you can have all these things happen, which I want so
Do you
bad.
think that'll happen? Like, who do you think is most likely to return? Because I feel like
Chase,
Blake Lively will
Chase.
not return.
I think Chase and Leighton are like the two most likely options. I genuinely think that because Chase Crawford already films The Boys and like for Amazon in New York. So like who's to say like he can't just go and do a couple scenes in Gossip Girl while they're filming? Like it's not that difficult. I don't know
I
about
think
Leighton Meester. I don't know how
Kelly
easily.
Rutherford.
I hope
She'll
so.
she'll be in it.
She looks the same as she did when the first one aired, so like she doesn't age. It's crazy. Ed Westwick, I'm not so sure about. I'm gonna be honest. Don't know about Ed Westwick. Because there was all that drama with him, so I'm not 1,000% sure.
And Penn Badgley, do we think?
I don't know because I mean,
Question is, how do they all feel about their show? Like,
well,
how do they feel about Gossip Girl? Like,
Penn and
what was their
Chase.
relationship?
Penn and Chase did a like reunion thing with just the two of them. Like they did like a Zoom call or something. I haven't watched it all the way through. I've watched like pieces and parts of it because I'm like afraid to watch it and just have them like shit on Gossip Girl. I don't think that's what they did, but like I've seen a couple like pieces of it because I love both of them. They're just so awesome. But um I want to say that like they enjoyed their time in Gossip Girl. I mean, like it kickstarted a lot of their careers. So like I want to say
I would say it kickstarted all of their careers.
yeah, pretty much. Um So like, I mean, I want to say that they enjoyed it, and I have a feeling that like if they were to extend to Chase, like, hey, would you want to come be Nate for a second? I'm sure he would do it. I have faith that he would. But that's also just me loving Chase Crawford and Nate Archibald more than anything.
I just typed in Chase Crawford into Wikipedia,
Hmm.
and I think I got the wrong Chase Crawford.
The wrong Chase Crawford?
Yeah, this says Chase Alexander Crawford is an American actor and film producer from Monroe, Ohio. He is best known for his roles in independent films such as Goat and Radiant City. Also, this does not look like him. Yeah, that's not him.
What the
Hold
heck?
on. Did I spell Chase wrong? Or did I spell
Chace.
So I spelled it right.
What the hell?
Oh no, I spelled it S-E.
Oh, LOL.
His name is Christopher Chase Crawford.
I was about to say he's from Texas. Like I was like, I don't know why Ohio. Like that was random. But I knew he was from Texas.
I know. Also, why wouldn't? And then I was like, why wouldn't it say Gossip
Yeah.
Girl? Is The Boys good?
I love The Boys. I am such a fan of that show. It is such
But do you like it just
chaos.
because he's on it?
No, I genuinely like love it. Like I knew he was in it when I started it because I started it after the second episode aired on Amazon. Or like after, yeah, like right after it
Oh,
started
it's a
airing on
superhero
Amazon.
show?
Yeah, but like it's like a satire. Like it's like not really satire. Well, kind of. It's basically like, oh, if these superheroes were like if superheroes were real and if they were the
That sounds like
worst people
Kick-Ass.
and if they were the worst human beings you could possibly think of.
That sounds like Kick-Ass.
Your microphone's messed up again.
That really just sounds like Kick-Ass.
I've never seen Kick-Ass. But it's like I started it right after it first came out on Amazon Prime, and I knew Chase Crawford was in it. I didn't know how much he was in it. His character's the worst in the first season. Like he like drops his pants in front of this new girl that comes in, and it's like it's bad. But anyway, he has a really good character growth, but it still doesn't excuse what he did. It was really gross.
It says the production locations are in Toronto.
Yeah, but it's set in New York.
Not New York.
It's set in New York, though. That's what I was thinking of. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but it's not like they're in. I mean, not like Toronto and New York are that far.
Right.
I mean,
like,
they're
like,
all of New York State away from each. They're a full like New York State away, but
right.
Toronto, I think, is on the Canadian border, isn't it?
Pretty sure. I don't know
Toronto,
anything about
Ontario?
Canada. But I love The Boys. I think it's a good show. Chase isn't in it as much as like the other characters are, so like I don't watch it just for him, but he's a good reason why I started it.
Yeah, it's right on the border.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Well, then even then, like he could come down and do it.
It's like right on it's like right on one of the lakes.
I want Michelle Trachtenberg to come into the new Gossip Girl, and I want her to reprise her role as Georgina.
Yeah. What lake is this? Lake Ontario, duh.
I'm trying to think of what like other like minor characters could come back. Not even just minor characters, just like
Jack
random.
Bass.
Oh, what I would give. I love Jack Bass.
Olivia Burke.
Yes! Bring Hillary Duff back. Oh my god. Bring Hillary. She didn't get to do her
we know
choir show. So
yeah, well, and we know she's in New York because that's where they film Younger.
Yeah, so like bring Lizzie McGuire into it, man.
Is that show still on?
I don't know. I don't watch it. I don't like Sutton Foster, so.
I don't either.
Who else?
Mm.
I was gonna say Bart Bass. He's dead. I'm an idiot.
That's what really made it soapy, is like they brought back somebody who was dead.
But it was so good because I love Bart Bass. I have always had such a crush.
That's weird.
I have always had such a crush on him. Oh my god, he's so hot. It doesn't help that like he's also in SVU.
You and I
he's, like super hot in SVU too. I'm just dropping.
Can't agree. Do not agree.
He's so fine. Are you kidding me? Anyways, this is just gonna be me talking about all the men I'm in love with in Gossip Girl. Who else is
You know
there?
what?
What?
We can like start every episode, not start. Yeah. We can have like a segment where we just like have like a catch up session where we just talk about things that aren't really related to Gossip Girl that are just like, what's going on in your life? And we can just call it like on the steps of the Met.
Oh
Like we can
yeah.
just have it be our like catch up, like the house cleaning.
Yes.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Anyway.
Words. Anyways.
House cleaning.
House cleaning. I'm trying to think of like what other characters there could be that could come back potentially. Because if I have a theory that Nate is gonna be mayor or some sort of mayoral something. I have a theory that
some sort of elected official.
Yes. So because like obviously in the finale they reference like him possibly running for mayor and he was like, well, I'm busy, I have a wedding to attend to, kind of a thing. So but then he says like, but who wouldn't want to be mayor of New York City? It's the greatest city in the world, whatever. So like with that in mind, obviously like I feel like if they were to bring Nate back, William would come back because William is like, he's also one of my favorite like random characters. I love William Vanderbilt.
I
also have a weird crush on
William Vanderwoodson.
Also him. I mean, if you're to
wait, there's
Lily
two
back,
Williams. So William Vanderbilt is his name. They just said we'll just reuse the same name. It's fine.
Yeah, because he's because Tripp is William Vanderbilt III. I'm pretty sure, but they call him Tripp for whatever freaking reason. I don't know. But bring him back. He's in New York. Aaron Tveit in New York. Bring Tripp back. I don't know. There's a lot of drama with him. I don't know if they would bring him back.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he went to like prison. Like pretty sure William sent him to prison. I think about that a lot. That's like the funniest thing to me is like he was like, oh, I did it because I don't have my grandfather's love. And he's like, that's why you tried to kill your cousin? Okay, sure. And then he's like,
so many spoilers.
Sorry, I don't care. Who cares? But they don't know what I'm referencing. No one knows what I'm, unless you've seen it, you don't know what I'm talking about. Bring Tripp back, but have him in prison. I think that would be hilarious. Don't bring Vanessa back. Let's leave her where she is. I don't want her to see her ever again. I don't even know where she is in the last.
I don't know. She just kind of like disappeared.
Yeah, like she shows up in the finale, but it's in a weird house.
Everyone, yeah, it's a weird. She's like in a kitchen. She's like,
it's like a kitchen from like the 50s. None of it made sense.
It was a weird color choice.
It was like very yellow and like it was weird. But yeah,
I was like, are you supposed to be in like the suburbs? Like, what happened?
Right, it was weird. She's back in Vermont. I don't know. Damien Dalgard. I'd like to see him again. I love me some Damien Dalgard. He's great. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Jill, I've seen the show.
I was making sure you look lost. I didn't know.
I was thinking. I was trying to think of other characters, but I truly couldn't. Who else like randomly showed up in that like finale piece when they were all
Mike Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg showed up. I talk about this all the freaking time. Literally the first person to find out that Gossip Girl, like who Gossip Girl is, Mike Bloomberg is like the first person.
I always thought it was Dorota. Oh my god, remember when he was running for president?
Stop. Oh my god. Oh.
And no one was like, no one was like, nobody wanted him.
Because we and someone else who was in the New York socialite scene. We don't need another one. Like, my god.
Oh.
But like,
I think about that. I remember that he ran for president the other day, and I was like, "Oof, thank God."
Literally every single time I think of Mike Bloomberg, I think of Gossip Girl. That's like all I can think about. Because I'm like, he really thought Gossip Girl was Dorota. That's like the only thing that comes to mind when I think of Mike Bloomberg.
I always thought it was Dorota.
That should have been like his campaign slogan. Just like Gossip Girl should have been Dorota.
The amount of times like the Trumps are referenced.
Ivanka shows up.
And Jared Kushner in the same episode.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I guess I just like blocked that part out of my brain the last time I watched it. But I saw that and I was like, ooh.
But it's funny because like when you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, like, why wouldn't they be there? It's just like uncomfortable now.
Yeah, like those characters definitely voted for the Trumps.
Most of them. I have my suspicions. I don't think that all.
Well, Blair is a Democrat through
Blair
and
is
through.
a Democrat. Nate is a Democrat. He's from a family of Democrats.
Serena's a Democrat.
Yes. Dan is voting for Bernie.
Yeah.
So
and is right. He's writing in Bernie.
Yeah, he's the worst. Everything Dan does, I'm like, get out, kill him. I hate him. He's the worst.
All the adults though. All the adults. No. Except for Cyrus and Eleanor. Oh, two best characters.
Yeah, Lily's like, that's my friend. I have to vote for him.
Or she's like, I was friends with Ivana.
Ivanka?
No, Ivana, the first wife.
Oh my God, that's right. I literally forget. Okay, when I hear Ivana, this is like the dumbest thing, and this is gonna show how like childish I am. I hear Ivana, and I automatically think of London Tipton's dog in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Was it Ivana or was it
Ivana? It's Ivana. Because I remember the game on like the Disney Channel website. That was like,
no, like, I bet Lily
like a psycho.
I bet Lily voted for Biden just out of like spite for Trump because she's friends with Ivana.
That would make sense. I could see that.
She's like, no, my friendship is more important.
Oh yeah. I feel like Chuck would eventually vote for Biden because Blair would twist his arm.
Yeah, but he was definitely like he's a businessman. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
And then she's like, I will not have sex with you if you vote for him.
She like withholds sex.
She would.
The most Chuck and Blair thing.
It'd be a whole Lysistrata situation.
Oh God.
Oh my God, right? That's what I'm referencing the right thing, right? Lysistrata, where they like
I'm pretty sure it's Lysistrata.
They don't have sex with them until they win a war.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Do you want to know how like terrible I am? It's the only reason I know Lysistrata is because of Lysistrata Jones, the musical that lasted like 4 weeks on Broadway.
Oh God.
And it was based on was it the cheerleaders wouldn't have sex with the basketball players until they won a game?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I only know Lysistrata because in my theater history class this past semester, my professor wouldn't stop talking about how she was in a production of Lysistrata.
Okay, so it says it's a comic account of a woman's extraordinary mission to end the Peloponnesian War between Greek city-states by denying all the men of the land any sex, which was the only thing they truly and deeply desired.
That's the most like, that just, it tracks. That all tracks. Anyways, okay. I feel like we've veered off so much because there's nothing else to talk about from the first.
We just talked about like the political leanings of the characters. It's fine.
There was actually, that reminded me that there was a TikTok that a friend of mine sent me like months ago. Like this was so long ago. And it was like how each of the Gossip Girl characters would have voted, and it was all incorrect. Let me just say that it was all incorrect, and I made like a reaction video to it because I was like, it bothered me so much because they said that Nate was a Republican. I'm like, literally, he's from a family of Democrats. Like they're like JFK style Democrats. So shut up. Like, please know what you're talking about before you make comments on it. Like, it makes me so angry.
You're like, just because he's a white golden retriever boy, like,
doesn't mean
he's the worst. Yeah.
Because like there was a reference in like one of the episodes where like Vanessa was like, I feel like something at the Kennedy compound, because she was like, I feel like so like out of place here. But then there was like,
I feel like Marilyn at the Kennedy compound.
Something like, not Marilyn, but it was something like that. Like something, it was weird.
It's because it was that episode where like you first meet grandfather.
Yeah, and like she was talking to Maureen. That's what it was. She was talking to Maureen. Or maybe she just said a Republican at the Kennedy compound. That may have just
yep, that's it.
That's what it was. But it makes me laugh because like then there are so many other references to the fact that like they're Democrats and people just completely miss all of that because they're not like the Democrats that we want them to be. They're like the more New York Democrats.
They're the more right-leaning Democrats
Right.
that are
Which
Democrat by name.
yeah. They're the Kennedys. That's literally they're based off the Kennedys, I'm pretty sure. So
Probably.
RIP to basically all the Kennedys.
I fully believe in the Kennedy curse.
Oh no,
I
it's real.
fully believe in it.
I've read books on it. I've watched documentaries on it. I fully believe it. Anyways, we need to stop talking about this because this has nothing to do with it.
We are talking about Gossip Girl.
That's true. There's like nothing else to discuss from this episode because it was so.
No, because the episode was all. It was all.
I know the first thing we're gonna bring up in the next episode, though.
The whole first episode was all. Oh my God, there's a word. It's a literary term. Exposition. It's all exposition and very little action.
Yes. The first thing I want to discuss in the next episode is the recasting of Eleanor Waldorf.
And it was perfect.
It was so good. Anyways, okay, so that's all I gotta say for this one.
That's all I have to say.
Yep.
My notes are done.
Yep. Okay. I don't know.
Where can people find us, Jill?
All we have right now is Instagram. On Instagram, we're at The Ultimate Insiders. And Katie, are you gonna make a TikTok?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be on TikTok.
Sure.
Hopefully at The Ultimate Insiders if it's available. If not,
hopefully
it'll be something else. I won't make a Twitter because I think Twitter is terrifying and toxic and horrendous. But yeah, so thanks for listening or watching if you're watching this on YouTube. I don't know. Whatever you're doing.
If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at Complete Katie, and then on TikTok, I'm at Katiefornia.
I put your wrong Instagram handle in our Instagram bio. That's embarrassing. I'll fix that. Anyways, my personal Instagram, my personal social media is at It's Jill Hayes on all platforms.
Yeah. And until next time, bye.
Bye.